The area around the dome has sort of been a kind of a forgotten subject. And these forgotten people have a concern.
13 years ago, the concern was what kind of effect did the Alamo Iron Works plant leave on the land it left behind?
It was clear that there was certainly some environmental lead contamination.
More than $1 million later, and the contamination at the Alamo Dome was cleaned up. But a call to the KENS 5i team had us asking the question, what about the neighborhood left behind? So we decided to check it out for ourselves.
We randomly went around the neighborhood and collected a couple of samples.
With the help of San Antonio Testing Lab, we scooped and sampled pieces of land, sent them to the lab, and tested for lead.
Up to 400 is considered okay. We found levels obviously far exceeding that.
While most of the samples came back pretty low, there was one home in particular where we found the dirt the children play in had a lead level higher than 1,000 parts per million.
And playing in 1,000 parts per million of lead soil can be extremely dangerous to their health.
Especially when you're dealing with children.
Especially young children that obviously are more susceptible to the potential adverse health effects of coming in contact with lead over extended periods of time.
Dr. Fernando Guerra heads up the Metro Health District, and he says while there's no way to prove the old iron plant caused any of this contamination, there's another factor they see all the time with some of the older homes in our city.
More than likely, those are attributable to some of the housing stock and the presence of lead-based paint.
If the source were strictly from the ironworks, there will be the concentration will be higher than what we've encountered so far.
Ernest Hafner is all too familiar with the land around the Alamo Dome. He heads up the city program that's working to clean up the contamination and revitalize that area, turning it into a 6-phase project called Historic Gardens. The project started in 1993, and today they're in phase 3.
It was determined that certain areas within that site showed lead concentration in excess of what the EPA allowed.
So, like the 2 projects before, the contaminated dirt has been hauled off with new dirt put in its place. But while there are some areas that can now be considered safe, experts say the problems with lead in our city is something we'll have to deal with for many years to come.
This lead will not go away by itself. It is going to stay there. It's just staying right there to be dealt with by the children day in and day out.